Chapter 15. Fashion Show. Meow. Mia. In a medical building floating around in the large environmental zone in the compressed space of the Kamedake. Fuku was in the hospital, but for Fuku, who was a baby, the superb view was enough to distract her from that fact. Fuku was unhappy with Karen checking her arms and legs and moved them away. No, stop it. Mia. Scolded by Karen, Fuku backed down. Shit. Even if I try, this never gets boring. But she can't function like this, Jaya-Kiran. It will be impossible for us to do anything until the core is repaired. We need to use this time to give her more experience. That's a cruel thing to say. It's not like she doesn't feel pain or get tired. Let her rest. She's just a little child. Or did you forget that, Karen? Hakuran asked. Karen blushed. The especially active Karen was the type to get out of bed as soon as she got better. Fuku, we're going to let you rest for a bit. If you're a good girl, Sena will be happy. Swearin said gently. Mia? Yeah, so be good, Swearin said. Mia. Fuku stopped flapping her limbs. That's a good girl. All right then, Karen. Tell her about the reward. Mia. Fuku looked at Karen with hopeful eyes. Something began making a loud noise. What? Hey, Swearin. I get tired when I talk a lot. I'll make it up to you later. Please take over for me. Swearin quickly turned and headed for the sofa. Hey, why don't you tell her a story, Karen? Karen liked things such as old stories and fairy tales, and everyone knew the Kamedake had an extensive library. Mia. Sure thing, Hakuran. While looking at Fuku's glittering eyes, Karen breathed heavily and calmed down. She began speaking with a gentle tone. At that time, Sena was in the briefing room. They were examining the fight against the Fortune ship. Looking at this, we were fairly careless in battle. Of course, it's certain that the enemy's avoidance and attacks weren't ordinary, but in most cases, it would have been possible to combat with just the Kamedake's performance and Amain's shooting and maneuvering skills. But with a lucky ship, that's not enough. Shockingly, it's unlucky to lose to an idiot like Sirio. But that makes us even dumber than him. I know, but I am irritated. I need to blow off some steam. Amain went out of the briefing room with furious and a gaudy gait. Amain is going through something. She'll come back once she's worked it out. Kariko stopped Sena, who was about to chase her. Even so, Sena's withdrawal timing was truly exquisite. It's understandable only because we're looking at it objectively, but at that time it seemed like everything was going right on the space pirate side. It's similar to the situation when they were first drawn to Sena. If Sena hadn't made a judgment call at that exact moment, you wouldn't have stood a chance. Still, I'm upset that it's my responsibility that drove Fuku into crisis. You know she chose to do that, and you're not responsible. Don't you remember what Sito said to you? We know you feel that way because of your bad luck. But it's more constructive to discuss how to deal with it. That's right. Hey, big brother Sena, what do you do when you get in such a situation? What kind of coping mechanisms do you use to try to cope with your bad luck? I've never really done anything consciously about it. Well, I reset my head and repeat the basic steps. Is that what you mean? The basic steps. I understand the words you're saying, but the variation of how to do things is infinite. After all, every process is just an extended line of basic steps, so if something goes wrong, it means that skill is not enough. I forgot that I was often told that by Mr. Katsuhito. Katsuhito-sama, you mean Eri-sama's husband? In Masaki Village, Mr. Katsuhito taught me the basics of martial arts. Hey, did you learn from him too, Sena? Yes, in my case it was mainly emergency measures, or how to escape from a crisis. When Amain comes back, let's set up several types of training and train. At the time when that conclusion was made, a monitor with Hakuran's picture was launched along with a call sound. Hakuran, what happened to Fuku? No, Sena, you just have a visitor. For me. Long time no see, everyone. Behind Hakuran, next to Mikami, was Amain's mother. She bowed. Sena and Amain's mother were talking on the bench of the Kamedake staff's residential area's Central Park. You want Amain to be in this fashion show? Yes, as you know, this show is a new uniform release for GP and Academy officials. I really want Amain to appear in it. Heh, but Amain. Well, I honestly don't think she will. So, I'd like to ask you for your help. I don't mind, but as it is now, it seemed impossible to persuade her. I must be honest. I also want her to quit such a dangerous job, but if that girl has decided, then I won't try to change her mind. She's stubborn like her father. Well, Amain has said I liked modeling before. Is that so? He could see the pain of a mother whose heart hurt due to her child, especially because it overlapped with Seina's own memories of his mother. I understand how you feel. I'll help you as much as I can. This is an outrage. I'm a member of the GP. I can't be expected to be a model right now. Amain, who was called in with Seina into the principal's office of the GP Academy, turned and folded her arms and walked away. Ho ho ho, I'm telling you to join in as a member of the GP, and that's an order. What do you think about that? I will do no such thing. And why is Seina here? He's here as the captain of the Kamedake, of course. Seeing as you, Amain, are on the crew of the Kamedake, it's natural to ask the captain as well, and of course to have him convince you. Besides, isn't it tomorrow? Sudden changes of plan aren't uncommon for you, are they? It's okay. This time we're using pre-made ready-to-wear items. Ugh. Seina. No, Captain. Captain, don't you know about the relationship between me and my father? Hey, Seina, she's asking you something. Yes. Seina, don't you want to see a main model? That is, well, of course I would like to see that. I was told by my friends she was incredibly beautiful before. In fact, when I went shopping when I got my first paycheck, I was given a promotional video by the store I went to. A promotional video? From that lingerie shop? Amain raised her voice unexpectedly, but quickly covered her mouth. At that time, it was a secret that she had been stalking Seina. A promotional video from a shop? Was it a long version of a lingerie show? Even now I find myself watching it from time to time. Oh, I see. So what do you think, Amain? Well, if it's the captain's command. It can't be helped. Amain thought that particular video was the best of her career. She didn't feel bad being told that he had watched it over and over again, and she wanted to continue to open herself up to Seina like she had on Imuum. Ho ho ho, well that certainly is how things go around here. I'll get things set up for you soon. Please let me go. NB was fixed in a powerful constraining gel and was screaming while struggling mightily. I heard, Arisama is trying to make things difficult for the GP costume's new unveiling. She doesn't want it to be such a high-exposure event. Her secretaries are running themselves ragged trying to keep her out of the way. Either way, Mikami has ordered us to keep a tight eye on NB and make sure it doesn't get free. But I worry about Master. Won't he release me, Ms. Kariko? What do you mean? Why do you think she went to the trouble to get her daughter into this show? Because Konak is in charge of the uniform designs this time, that's why Amain's mother had Seina persuade Amain. Are you saying there are other intentions? I have nothing to confirm it, but I think she's trying to matchmake her with Master. What? The expression of Kariko was stiff. This time, the models selected to model are top models, and there are rumors that Vega is one of them. Vega? That model Amain was always fighting with for the role as top model. If she can lure Seina over to her, Amain will probably go back to Konak. Seina is not the kind of person to be misled by such things. But he watches that promotional lingerie video he got from the shop all the time. Lingerie video. Have you ever seen it, Ms. Kariko? Amain is in it. There's a rumor it's a pretty famous video. But, well, yeah. The problem is that other model also appears there. Don't you think that should make you a little anxious? Kariko began to shake with feelings. If he was watching it over and over, he liked what he saw. There was something about the models in it. If he got to meet the real thing. Amain's mother, nature could be playing matchmaker after all. This is a serious situation. Seina, who headed to the outer ring by way of transfer gate, got into a limousine-type car with a black finish, which looked like a high-class limo. Amain immediately began to check the timetable of the show. Seina seemed a little restless, looking at the luxurious car interior and the outside scenery. Oh, are you mad at me? I feel like some things. Mikami rushed to quiet him to stop him from disturbing Amain. In any case, the car was a luxury car that the royal family or the like was likely to use. The place where it arrived at was a prestigious place in the finest business district. Oh, you look impressed. You've seen the imperial residential area of Tenju, the room of the Emperor of Jurai, and residential district of an imperial ship. How are you surprised by this? Well, yes, but that was all for my job. This is also for your job. As the Kamidake's captain, you'll get used to such places, trust me. Heh. Well, this is a good opportunity. I'll explain a bit about the correspondence of the mass media in the future. What does that mean? There is a mass communication system in this world just like on the Earth. You've watched our TV system before, haven't you? Yeah. The Galaxy Academy also had a news program. Of course, it was as diverse as the Earth's, from serious things to gossip. Sena, you're the captain of the Kamidake. You attract attention with your talent. I haven't said anything, but there have been requests from the mass media for interviews for quite a long time. I never would have guessed that. Since the Academy is a place that deals with various secrets in general, there are quite strict regulations on media relations. Regardless of professional status, Sena, your security level is slowly getting raised one step at a time. Eventually, you will be top secret and the highest degree of information regulation will be done. You're still a minor, and there are already parts of your life that are top secret such as the Kamidake and Fukuchan and the existence of Washu and so on, but there's always going to be the problem of your bad luck. Ho ho ho. Coverage of him was intense. There was the possibility that it could cause a catastrophe from his bad luck alone, and gossip was just as bad as legitimate coverage. There was a possibility that those rumors would be communicated to the space pirates. I apologize for causing such an inconvenience. Well, instead of having them cover you, we instead disclose information on a regular basis, so we have rumors abounding. I've heard such stories from my friends. But those only apply to places in the Academy and other cooperating areas. In the future, I'll have to teach you how to deal with places outside of our control. I understand. I feel somewhat complicated about it, though. On that subject, but since Sena is a minor now, there are places that are subject to entry restrictions, such as adult entertainment areas and so on, although regulation will be removed once you're an adult. Those places are also places where our press agreement is invalid, so in your case, Sena, in order to avoid troubles, special behavior regulations and restricted area restrictions might be set up. So does that mean that there will be more places that I won't be able to go eventually? There will be more places to go, but the places you can't go will also increase. Sounds complicated, doesn't it? Inside the Academy circumference ring, there'll be no problem, but in other countries and stations it won't be possible to go out freely. If it's absolutely necessary, you must apply beforehand to get approval. I feel sorry for you, but because of the issue of your security and your biased probability, it's a needed measure. Please, if you don't mind, I don't mind. As I've said, when I was on Earth I couldn't really go anywhere, so I don't mind that there are still a few places I can't go, and that will always be the case. Thank you, I'm glad to hear you say so. Ugh. Are you ever going to stop talking? Amain raised her head and looked at Mikami and Sena. Are you finished? Do you know what to do? It's just a basic style show. It's a place I know with stages I've used before. The directors are familiar, and I don't have that many turns on the runway. Well, other than my stupid father being there, I think there's no problem. In the basement of a building the limousine went into had a large garden, which doubled as the event hall and hotel. In the basement the light descended from a gap in the garden above. When the limo parked, an employee of the hotel rushed over and bowed beside the door. Sena, please stay in the limo. Mikami said. Yes. Hey, I'll be back later. Amain waved to Sena and left the limousine with a sudden and elegant stride. At that moment Amain was wrapped in camera flashes. When Sena peeked out from the back of the moving limo, he saw that Amain was surrounded by a large number of people. Oh wow, Amain is truly amazing. That's a lot of reporters. The limousine arrived at the place one level below. It was a gorgeous place, much more lavish than the previous level. Moreover, the number of employees who were lined up was more than the upper floor. The top is for showing your face to the press. This is the entrance for the VIPs. When the employee opened the door, Mikami got out of the car with an elegance tantamount to that of Amain's, but Sena looked down in shyness as he got out of the car. Ho ho, are you nervous? Well, even when I was at Tenju, and the royal ships were much more amazing places than this, but they had no mysterious and intimidating feelings to them. In them I felt a comfortable feeling somehow. I can understand. So to speak, this is a place to satisfy the visitor's self-esteem, so appearances have priority and it's very artificial even if it is just as beautiful. Tenji was essentially a place for everyday living. Mikami said. Sana nodded as if he had been convinced. Even with that said, you're still a guest of honor. Amain said as she descended the stairs into the hall. She had heard Sana's conversation and noticed Sana's uncomfortable appearance. Thank you for your early arrival. Thank you for being graceful about being surrounded by press reporters for the first time in a while. It's annoying. It's been a while since I had to do that last, so I got pretty fed up with being asked lots of questions, especially because I can see half of them were given to the press by my fucking father. Those are the worst. Amain looked mad. Yes, I bet they are, but don't forget that this is also for the promotion of the GP and for Sana's image. Amain. Amain's father cried out from the stairs opposite the ones Amain came down while Amain was talking to Mikami. However, in contrast to Amain's father, who was in tears, Amain distorted her face with disgust. Father, I'm glad that you came back. Huh? For my show, you quit the GP. What a happy occasion. Hey. You came back and now the Konak family is safe. Hey, listen to me for a second. Amain's mother had on a smile to hide her desperate desire to take her husband away. Sana came around next to her so as not to get caught up in the impending violence. We appreciate your cooperation. Hey, Amain's mother, hasn't he accepted that she is in the GP yet? Yes, of course I've accepted it. Amain's mother smiled. Amain's mother. Are you sure? Yes, of course. Amain walked angrily on in the hallway afterwards. Sana and Mikami stayed behind her a bit so as not to get caught up in Amain's anger. My father. That bastard. I'm sorry. This is all because I said I wanted to see you as a model. That's right. I did this for you, Sana. You better be grateful. Oh, yes, I already am. Well, then I'm just sorry this isn't a lingerie show. Oh, yeah. I have to get changed. The time I have to change clothes is limited, so please come with me. Oh, no, I was going to look at you from the audience. Because of security problems, we can't have you enter the audience seats. Tomorrow is an intro viewing day for executives, so we aren't allowed to enter the audience seats then either. Mikami cut off Sana, who was trying to escape. Well, then Looking at the puzzled appearance of Sana, Amain wrapped her arm around Sana's neck and began to drag him. Okay then, let's go, and let's go quickly. Please don't pull me so hard. Ho ho. And behind the three people walking, the cleaning staff who were masked and wearing the bottom of glass bottles as glasses polished the floors and the wall while watching Amain and Sana. It was a disguised Kariko and Ryoko. This is bad, isn't it? The models in the back are pretty, and they are pretty much in a naked state there throughout the night. How can she bring Sana into such a place? Kariko, it seems everyone is just getting here. At present, there is no abnormalities. Except the model Vega seems to be a bit late. Okay, hey Karen, Sana seems to be in the backstage area. How's the situation over there? Are there dividers or a waiting room for the officials? It's an open floor. I don't see anything like a partition, and a lot of male staff can be seen. All right, if there is anything that comes up, let me know. Kariko let out a small sigh as she broke the communication. I doubt that Amain will leave, but I'm worried about what Airi-sama told us. Maybe we should first check the truth of Airi's information. In the Kamidake's medical office, Neju was sitting in front of Fuku's medical capsule. Neju, why aren't you going? Do you worry about Mr. Master? Envy said. Well, unlike those two girls, I cannot be misled by such a silly lie. Mia, Fuku said, as she sharpened her claws on an unsealed part of NB. Please don't sharpen your claws on me. Mia. Neju stared at the interaction of Fuku and NB with a shaky face. Amain went into the dressing room of the show venue and went around about the inside. With her appearance in the venue, the bustle of the place turned instantly into silence. Ah, how nostalgic. This atmosphere brings me back. As soon as Amain said that, she noticed her father in the corner talking to the directors. Yes, this is my Amain's comeback, as you know. She's a cosmically cute girl, the cutest girl in the cosmos if I say so myself. I need you to give her the very best spots and the very best outfits. The director sent a gaze of confusion towards Amain, and as Amain sent them back a signal to get out of there. Sena, let's take a quick tour of the place, Mikami said. Yes, I understand. Mikami and Sena headed to a place away from Amain, who was on the verge of exploding with anger. He. I am glad you came back, Amain. A girl distracted Amain as she began to walk towards her father. She recalled the girl from the BDSM club when she was tracking Sena during his first paycheck purchase. Yumino. I mean, June, you're doing well. Amain quickly switched names. Her real name was Yumino La June. Yumino was for in private and when she worked at shops, and June when she was a model. Everyone was thrilled when they heard you would be a guest. Hey, are you coming back to the modeling world again? This time it's special. It's an order for my job. Oh, sorry to hear that. So Amain, I haven't seen you since last time. Are you ever coming back to the shop again? I told you I'm not interested in S&M play. By the way, that beautiful long-haired girl who was with you that day, where is she? It's just me and these two people with on today's trip. Amain pointed to Sena and Mikami with her line of sight. Oh, is that Ms. Mikami Kuramitsu? Yes, she is with my boss at the moment. I see, so that's who you were looking for that day. He was hanging around my shop. Yes, I wouldn't have been there unless I had to be. Ms. Mikami, Sena Yamada, I apologize for having troubled you. Sena suddenly was puzzled by the appearance of an unknown woman, but Mikami was familiar with her. Oh, Nanami, I apologize for not greeting you sooner. They shook hands. Sena looked at her closely and tried to recognize her. Looking at Sena's puzzled expression, Nanami finally realized first that she had already met Sena. She sent him a silent facial signal. Oh! Sena, who saw the face she made, remembered how he knew Nanami. She was the clerk at the lingerie shop NB sent him to. Nice to meet you, Mr. Sena. I am Nanami Tatsuki. Oh, Sena turned red and looked down. I'll be in charge of model fitting today. I can explain how that works if you are interested. Please feel free to ask me at any time. Nanami bowed and gently approached Mikami. Kariko-sama is here. Well, that is no doubt Eri's doing. How about asking Kariko-sama to participate? That's a good idea. Can you collect them for me? Leave it to me. Nanami and Mikami smiled. Are you looking for Vega? June asked with a wry smile. She knows that you're in a hurry, so I think she's wasting time. So, she's pretending to be late so she can show up already looking dashing. She'll never change. Well, you came earlier than anyone else. I'd say you're more enthusiastic about work than anyone else. It's just a habit, Amain exhaled as if fed up. Vega came into the room, and everyone focused on her. She had a dignified appearance and a presence that was suitable for a top model. The place was transformed into a show for Vega. Oh, you're here. I heard you were tired. Vega came up next to Amain. I heard you were tired of being compared with myself, and so you ran away to the GP. Did you come to see my performance? I'm modeling this time as a special request. Oh, so it's true. Oh, they must have invited a guest from the GP for the battle segment. Hey, what is with your hands? She looked at Amain's hands and made a steep expression. Oh, wow. You'll never make it back on stage with such rough-looking hands. You look ridiculous. Oh! Amain hid her hands and looked awkward. Vega looked disappointed at her response. Well, do your best. Luckily for you, it's only for one day. Having said that, Vega turned and went away from Amain. I have no regrets, Amain said, looking at her hands with a slightly sad smile. I like your hands, Amain. Huh? The hands of my father and mother and Tenchi senpais are also rough. It shows they have been hard at work. Well, they're like a tree stump with lots of rings. It shows that you've accumulated something for your time. Sena. I think they are very beautiful hands. Sena stared straight as he said that. Oh, thanks. Amain and Sena both blushed. Mikami looked on while smiling at the two of them. She approached slowly and silently, and placed her hands on both their shoulders. Ms. Amain, it's time to present the clothing designs for the GP staff. I can't have you imitating a moving mannequin. Show them how the real thing would wear it. Roger that. Ho ho. We'll be cheering for you, won't we? Cheering? Well, let's start the event. The director said. As I understand, everything is still happening the same, but we've had to make some changes. Why? Suddenly, in the battle simulation, 6 people in addition to Amain have been added from the GP. June gently approached Amain. Vega seems to have trained quite seriously for the combat simulation. Really? Amain looked over at Vega. Let's introduce our performers. The director said to those who came up to the stage. I knew this was bullshit, but she still got me to take the bait. Kariko, Karen, Hakuren, Jayakiran, Sueren, and Ryoko, who were supposed to have infiltrated the venue, were up on stage. Their appearance gave a huge shock to those in the venue. All the models in the event were top models. However, not only were Kariko and the others comparable with those girls, Jayakiran was a person so beautiful she surpassed every model there. Moreover, if the girls were amateurs, they also had a tremendous presence. It was impossible for the crowd to believe it wasn't their main job. No one in the room could speak. Amain, do you know them? June asked. Isn't that the beautiful woman who was with you last time? Do you know the others too? They're my colleagues. Wow, they move so dignified, it's amazing. I can't believe they're amateurs. Indeed, Amain thought so in her mind. Certainly, Ryoko Balta often got on the runway as a space pirate, but she didn't know how familiar she was with the process. But Hakuren's team were pure amateurs. Even though they had received advanced education in men from Sito, they definitely didn't get this. Oh, but they're accustomed to appearing as a guest of honor. Wait, are they here cause of that old hag? Amain said. Old hag? Oh, nothing. I have to go check on something for Eri. See ya. Amain quickly left and went to Kariko. Eri's name was just convenient to use at such a time. What are you guys doing? Amain said to the girls who had on disgraced faces. Eri said that this show was meant to lure Sena over to the models. They were trying to seduce Sena to get you back to modeling for Konak, Kariko and Ryoko said. We were set up by Eri. We were such fools. I can't believe we were caught by Nanami. Nanami? Amain, didn't you know? Originally, she was one of Sito's female officers. Oh, I knew that Nanami originally came from Jurai, but I didn't know that. Now I'm convinced this was all a setup. No doubt about it, Kariko said. Oh well, it can't be helped. Okay, rehearsal is through. The room was filled with models changing clothes. Sena diverted his eyes. In the absence of any partitions, models were undressing all around him. Despite the considerable number of male staff, it wasn't difficult to understand this was a women's changing room. However, as Sena diverted his eyes, he ended up looking right where Vega was changing. She noticed him looking at her and seemed thrilled by it. Ha ha ha, she suddenly faced Sena and got undressed. Sena hurried to look away, but her body was burned into his eyes. Ah, hey you. Sena looked back reflectively at being called, but Vega was standing there naked, and she seemed to be very cranky. Oh no, maybe she's angry at me seeing her naked. Sena was in a hurry to turn his eyes, but the words he heard from behind him contradicted what he thought he would hear. Why are you looking away from me? You. Amain brought you right. Then that means that my nakedness must be intolerable to you compared to her. Are you saying I'm ugly compared to Amain? Well, hey, I'm talking to you. Have the decency to look at me. If you want to talk, then please put on some clothes. This is the first time I've ever been so humiliated as to be asked to put on clothes. Just say it clearly. You think I'm inferior to Amain. That's not what I mean at all. Vega, can you try not bullying such a young child? It was Nanami who broke up the conversation. I have done no such thing, Nanami. I am only talking to this child normally. Vega, you are confusing a young child's modesty for something you should be ashamed of. Vega was puzzled by this. What on earth are you saying? It's too complicated to explain now. You're on soon. Go get ready. Nanami got frustrated at Vega's misunderstanding of the situation. Fine. I understand. You there? You better explain yourself later. Vega left with a rough gait. A main came in after her and beat him over the head. He sent a signal to Nanami not to intervene. A main began undressing in front of him just like Vega. It went without saying that Sena, of course, diverted his eyes from it. Huh. Wow, you look amazing. Sena looked at a main who had changed clothes with admiration. You don't seem like the usual main I know. You're like a real model. But I am a real model? What do you mean? Oh no. Well, I'll forgive you for that expression. I guess I'm just feeling a sense of tension in this place. It's making me nostalgic. It's odd, somehow. I'm happy, I guess. I really don't hate this job after all. Huh. Well, I have to go. A main left to go to model and her father whipped up the room into an applause. But as long as I am a Konak, I'll never know how far I can get on my own abilities. Sena recalled a main's words that she had told him the last time her father visited her penthouse. Sena watched her leave with complicated feelings. It seems that things have died down back here. Nanami came up talking to him with a monitor of the show. What do you think of her compared to the images you saw before? I don't get what you mean. Then what do you think of a main when compared with Vega? Compared to the other models, Vega's presence was overwhelming. He could not deny it, though her movement lacked little bits of precision. It seemed that Sena was able to tell something was off. Is there a problem? The fundamentals of how to use your body are different in the modeling world and the GP. Please don't get me wrong. The models are all special and talented, but unlike them, a main's movements are natural. That's true. I'm looking forward to watching the fighting simulation. Please excuse me, I have some things to do to set up for it. Nanami rushed off in a hurry. At this point, the runway segment is over. The battle simulation will start after an hour break. Thanks all for your hard work. The director announced backstage. Now would be a good time for a light snack. Are you hungry? Mikami showed up out of nowhere and asked Sena. That sounds good, thank you. I didn't see you for a while. Where did you go? I had to do some meet and greets with stakeholders. Afterwards, I ran a check on the battle simulator. Are you having fun, Sena? I have a painful feeling that I am a little out of place, but I've learned some things today too. Ho ho, so you haven't been enjoying the eye candy? Wha? Well, it just feels kind of awkward. I'm trying my hardest not to look. You lived with Kariko and the others. Aren't you used to it? Kariko and the others do not get naked and change clothes in front of me. Oh, but the show you watched on the monitor was fun, wasn't it? Yes, I'm definitely eager to see the combat simulation. That said, the director told me we can stay and watch the battle simulation. Amain and the others are going to put on one hell of a show. It's a shame we can't show it to the general public. Why not? We can't expose Kariko-san and the others to the public yet because the Kamedake is confidential at the moment and you are still underage, Captain Sena. But think of this as reference material to show to you. A red field appeared on the floor and began flashing. The models started moving out. Ah! A red field also appeared where Sena was. He stood up reflexively. Sena, stay here, Mikami said. Sena sat back down. The inside of the field was covered with a privacy wall. Battle suits are very confidential. A loud noise was made, and a container rose from under the floor. It contained the battle suits. Kariko and the other girls stood in front of each container. The container opened, and the suits and accessories came out from inside. Specialized accessories were in each container. They began dressing and adjusting them. It looked like an F1 race's pit scene. This feels quite strange. Because the new models are almost unchanged from the military ones, and since Kariko's people were inserted last minute, their fit might be off from the initial adjustment. Ooh, it's like a mecha anime, Sena thought as he looked at their costumes. Probably due to what Karen told him on Imuum. I understand a bit of looseness as a margin of error, but these are practically a whole size larger than they have to be. You think they would fix such a thing, wouldn't you? It's about mobility rather than appearance. That's the purpose of this. Amain told Vega. But what about trying to improve the appearance? I will leave that to you, Vega. Everyone is ready, the staff announced. Okay. Battle simulation start. First off was Vega. Ho ho ho, she seems to have done some full-scale training. Vega was especially enthusiastic. She even received a certificate from her training instructor. Yeah, but there are things you can't learn from training, you know. Mikami and the director bantered. Vega came out to the stage and did her thing. Mikami and Nanami noticed that, and ironically it was Vega who had trained most enthusiastically for this event. She isn't joking. At this time Vega realized that having a main away from the modeling world made her sad. For Vega, a main was someone to be jealous of, and at the same time she was an exciting rival that gave her motivation to push her into getting better, and in a way, she respected a main. That's why when a main dropped out of the modeling world it made her sad and angry with her. It's amazing how much she has learned in a short period of time. Then they turned and watched Kiriko and the others who were working in tandem. You know, that's all ad-lib. The director was surprised to see that. Kiriko and the others were destroying the enemies with splendid cooperation. This is the latest shooting training program we have. Those who can deal with it at first glance are as skilled as those in the GP Special Forces. They are super class, just like Vega. I see. The director radioed Vega, who had stopped to watch them. Vega, is there any problem? No, there is none. Vega answered in an expressionless manner. I haven't had a good workout like that in a long time. A main. What? A main responded to Vega. I was disappointed at how you preformed in the show, but during the simulation you were pretty good. I see now that you gave up on being a top model and aimed at the top of the GP. I'm sure after tonight your father will realize that too. That was Vega's praise and her declaration of separation. Vega turned and walked away. Oh! That's right. There you are. Vega noticed Sana walking past her towards a main. She ran over and glanced at him. Hi? How are you? Come on. There's all the time in the world now. I would like an explanation as to why you wouldn't look at me naked. Oh geez, what mess did he get himself into now? Amain was amazed but headed to support Sana. Amain's father was watching sadly as the limousine drove away from the venue. Do you accept her decision now? After seeing such a thing, there is no way I could not now, is there? My child has already begun to walk her path. Her father was deeply moved and began shedding tears. Hey now, please don't cry. Amain's mother wiped his tears with a handkerchief. She slowly snuggled Amain's father. Amain's left the nest, so why don't we have another? I guess you're right. I want a boy this time. Why? If Amain was a boy, I wouldn't have had to worry about her leaving like this. Haha, are you sure about that? I can't believe that's finally over. Congratulations, Amain-san. Oh ho ho, Sana barely made it out alive. I was saved thanks to Amain. Amain managed to convince Vega that Sana was just shy, and she finally let him go. It's been a day. I just want to go home and take a bath now. Hey Sana, will you join me? I need a massage too, if you can manage it. Amain said, holding Sana by the shoulder. Well, but I have to get back. It's okay to keep Kiriko and the others waiting. Besides, you made me happy today, when you said I was beautiful. Amain. He has to go to bed. We have things to do tomorrow. Kiriko video phoned in. So? That reminds me, you aren't even supposed to be here. Are you going to pick up Neju and Fuku? Gah. Fine, but you're going to take him home and put him to bed, right? I'll think about it. Amain. Hey, calm down, Kiriko-san. It will be all right. I'll be with them, ho ho. I don't know if that's supposed to make Kiriko feel any better. You might join in with your younger body. Mikami-sama. Are you going to allow this? Mikami blocked communication. Bless her heart. She sure is a worrisome girl. Ahaha, well, I don't want to stress her, so maybe we should hurry back. Ho ho, yes indeed. Mikami sat deeply in her seat as she looked at the situation of Amain and Sana. This was a nice change of pace after their defeat by the fortune ship, especially since Amain got to blow off some steam and reevaluate how she feels about modeling. I'm sure we can fight the lucky ships now. Mikami closed her eyes satisfied.